Okay, if I can start with you, Peter. I mean, here we've got this amazing event taking place in a couple of days, celebrate the Queen's 90th. You're the big organizer, one of the busiest streets in Britain, one of the most famous streets in the world. Why here for the Patrons' Picnic?
Probably for your last point, the fact it is one of the most famous streets in the world. It is iconic with great British celebrations. And this is an event that hasn't been done before like this. There's never been a traditional British street party, if you want to call it that, ever held on the Mall, which I find kind of strange, given it is the centre of so many great national celebrations. It seemed a logical choice to be able to, bringing 600 of the Queen's patronages together in one go. We needed a lot of space, and so this was the choice.
You know, it's great weather today. It does occasionally rain in this town. What's the backup plan?
Well, believe it or not, this time yesterday we wouldn't have been able to stand here. The rain was, it was monsoon-like. The backup plan is very simple. It's stiff upper lips, and it's all the guests will get given a poncho and sun cream, so you never know what's going to happen. So hopefully everyone will still enjoy themselves and keep an eye on the weather forecast. But we're all keeping our fingers crossed.
Autumn pomp, pageantry, a lot of tradition. How have you got used to this?
It's taken some time. It wasn't seamless at first, but I've had some people in the family who have guided me and helped me through it, told me what to wear and when to wear it. So they've been really kind to me, and they were very welcoming when I first came in. And now it's just good fun.
You know, like a lot of Canadian kids, you grew up learning about the monarchy, and then suddenly you were in the royal family. How hard was it to get acclimatized to that?
Well, like I said, they're very welcoming, and you don't think of them as the royal family when you're with them. They're just like every other family.
Really?
Yeah, they are. Just kind and welcoming, and aunts, uncles, children, mothers, grandparents. It's the same thing behind closed doors. Everybody is just a family, and it's a very special family.
But you're sitting there and you look across the room and the
Pinch
Queen
yourself.
is sitting there. Do you?
Yes.
Do you pinch yourself?
There have been occasions, especially at the beginning, where I've had to pinch myself, but and you know, you're still in the company of one of the most famous women in the world, and she's an amazing woman, and she's an amazing role model for all of us and for the children, and so you do pinch yourself because of that, and you're lucky enough to be in her presence, really, and learning from her and just having conversations with her.
Peter, you're the first grandson. They say you're the favorite grandson.
Who's they?
Who's they? Yeah, define they. Yeah.
Tell me about. I've heard a lot of your interviews of late talking about the relationship, given her remarkable life, but talking about you and your cousins, the two princes, and that you guys and your sister were pretty bad at times.
Oh, I think that's probably a little harsh. I don't think we were any worse than most kids growing up. We were lucky. We had a lot of space to run around in, and as with anything, the more space you have, the more speed you pick up, the more it hurts when you run into something. I mean, we were lucky that we had a reasonable age gap between us all. So it was there was always somebody to be able to run around with and play stuck in the mud or hide and seek or whatever it happened to be, and we had a lot of fun.
You ever get scolded by the Queen?
A few times.
What's that like?
You stand to attention, and you again. It's like anything. It's just like I assume when most parents or most grandmothers turn around and they're normally very loving, and suddenly they give you a stern talking to, you sort of, oh, it's sort of, okay, better stand up and listen. But no, I think it was. I very much doubt we got told off any more than any other children growing up.
Prince William tells a story about how you and he were chasing your sister on bicycles or something, and it ended up in a terrible collision. And the first person out was the Queen, came running out to check up on you. Remember that?
There are various elements of truth to that, and there are various elements that may have been distorted. But
But like you weren't driving.
Yeah, as I say, it was just we overstepped the mark occasionally. But I think that's what that's what growing up's about.
Tell me something, Autumn, that would surprise me because it surprised you about being a member of this family, and especially about the Queen.
I think what surprised me the most was how normal they were and how much they were just like any other family, which I wasn't expecting, which is not what happens when you watch movies. But you walk into their house and it's very much like probably walking into yours or my own, and they're just a family. They're happy, they have great relationships with each other, they're very close, and yeah, I think that's probably what surprised me the most.
Tell me the story about how you met him.
Well,
you didn't know that there was any connection?
No, I was working at the Montreal Grand Prix. I had bartended to put myself through university in college, and I quit the bar, so I was doing corporate hospitality because I was interviewing with CSIS. And
now we get to the real story.
Yeah, this is actually. I can't tell you that bit. Can you delete that? And I was working Formula One, not a Formula One fan at the time, and he was working for Williams, the F1 team, and he came with the drivers. Again, I had no interest in the drivers, and poor Peter was being pushed around by the French bouncer and didn't quite know what to do with himself. So I saved him. So it was a bit of a,
This is her version of the story. I'll let you finish.
And then they left, and I thought, oh, he was very sweet. And he came back later a couple of times, but I wasn't there, and he brought some passes to the after hours party the party at Jacques Villeneuve's place in Newtown.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a couple of girlfriends and we went and met him.
So this is the Canadian spy inside the royal family.
Absolutely.
You know that. You realize that now.
I know. Yeah.
You're blowing my cover.
MI5, MI6 must be all over this.
Got nothing and ceases.
Tell me a little bit about how you both see what's talked of as the modern monarchy. I mean, Prince William has talked about this at times, with a new generation of royals, kind of new thinking, generational change. Is there a new modern monarchy developing?
I think that's probably a terminology that the media would like to put in a box, if you like. I don't think this is a new concept. Of course, there's now a younger generation. They were probably talking about the same thing when the Prince of Wales and my mother and the Duke of York and Prince Edward were coming up. They were probably all talking about that being the new monarchy. And I think clearly everyone has their own thought processes on how things should be done. But it's an evolution. It's not something that's suddenly been. You can't box us all into this terminology that this is a new modern monarchy. It's an evolution, and the Queen's been at the forefront of that evolution for 60 odd years.
Do you see yourself, Autumn, as part of the evolution too? Are you like bringing Canadian ideas here in terms of, a different generation?
They never treated me like I was Canadian. They've always just accepted me as kind of part of the family. I definitely have some Canadianisms that I bring to the table,
which the Duke is very quick to point out.
Yes.
Like what?
Well, I've never dropped the word a. That's still at the end of my sentence, replacing the question mark. The children correct me now when I say tomato. Mama, it's tomato. Like, oh no, they're winning. But I think the Canadianisms, the Queen knows more about Canada than I ever will. So
she really does.
She really does. She really does. She keeps up with everything Canadian. She's
probably been to more of Canada than you have, isn't she?
She's been to Canada 22 times. She's seen every province, every territory. She's been everywhere. I would love to have seen as much Canada as her and the Duke have, and they're very lucky to have done it. And she loves Canada. She passionately speaks about Canada, and I think as Canadians we have a lot of respect for the Queen, and she really has respect back. It's a mutual admiration, I think.